Welcome to another edition of Bearcats All Access. I'm your host, Marshall Kramsky. They always say the biggest game is the next game, but the next game for the Bearcats has a little extra juice. Cincinnati looking for their first Big 12 win, the men's basketball team, and they host Kansas, one of the most storied programs and top teams in the country, right here at Fifth Third Arena. We talk game plan with head coach Wes Miller. Plus, we hear more from some of the players on the team and what they need to do going forward to find success in the Big 12. All that and so much more coming up right now on Bearcats All Access.
Bearcats All Access, sponsored by All Good Home Improvements.
Talk about that, Baylor. And looking back at that, there was clearly frustration from you after the game. What, when you've had some time to digest it, really stood out about that performance?
Yeah, well, certainly we've had our fair share of frustrating play here over the first 3 games of conference play. On the road at Baylor, it felt like it wasn't just a handful of things that you weren't doing well. It was a culmination of a lot of things, and certainly that was frustrating. Didn't feel that way in our preparation. Didn't feel that our guys weren't ready to play or they weren't focused. So to go out there and not play to the standard with effort of our defensive intensity, our rebounding intensity, and certainly, we've had a tough week and a half on the offensive end. All that culminates, and we were frustrated with our performance, I think, as a group, certainly me as the head coach.
I don't think anyone either inside the team or outside the team expected an 0-3 start to the Big 12 play, but what do you do as a coach and your staff right now to make sure the buck stops here with your team?
Control what you can control. Certainly this wasn't our expectation going into it. I do think you put it in perspective. Because you can't lose confidence and you can't lose belief. We're fortunate to have a bunch of guys that have been in our program that are high character individuals, that are confident players, and we won't lose that big picture, but you got to try to get it back as soon as humanly possible.
Kansas is that next opponent here. It's been sold out already. It should be an awesome environment. What do you tell your guys going into that, trying not to make the game too big, but also knowing you need your first Big 12 win at some point?
We've played a number of big games at this point, right? And they're all big. They all matter. But we've played in a number of games where there's that kind of interest around the game, and there's that kind of attention around the game, and there's big-time environments. This won't be the first time. And it won't be the first time for a lot of these guys coming from other places or playing in previous years. So they've done it this year, they've done it in previous years. That doesn't concern me. What concerns me is being prepared, playing the right way, starting to play with confidence again on offense and belief, and then doing the things that we should be able to rely on every single night that we didn't quite see in the Baylor game.
You speak about importance, and I know it's a cliche question, but you want that first Big 12 win. Everyone in the locker room, I'm sure, wants the same thing. Just how important would it be to get it at home against a team like Kansas? It's
the next game, so it is the most important thing in our lives right now, and that's how we approach it all year long. And I've said this to our team, I believe that we can play with anybody in college basketball. I certainly feel that we have a boost every time we run out of the tunnel in Fifth Third Arena, and we are going to win a bunch of games with this team this year. We always want to win the next game. That always is the most important game on the schedule.
I know you're locked into this Kansas game, but the next episode won't air until after the Colorado game. So if I could just ask you, what challenges presents to you guys going out on the road to Boulder?
We will focus on the Colorado game after we finish the Kansas game, but the travel in this league is a factor, but it's a factor for everybody. So to sit here and say that that's difficult on your team, you'd be remiss to say that everybody's not dealing with the same thing. So it's equally difficult across the board. But yeah, you're changing time zones and you're traveling multiple times a week throughout the course of the year. That has challenges, but everybody in the league's doing it as well.
Electrifying athleticism and high-flying dunks. Dillon Mitchell is a key piece for the Cincinnati Bearcats. We check in with Mitchell coming up.
Keys to Success, sponsored by Columbia Hyundai and Genesis of Montgomery.
About halfway through the Cincinnati men's basketball season, forward Dillon Mitchell has stood out for his electrifying athleticism and high-flying dunks. Mitchell comes to Cincinnati after being a transfer from Texas his freshman and sophomore season, and hopefully Mitchell could help the the Bearcats as Big 12 play continues.
James, the lob, Mitchell, the slam. Watch out for Mitchell here. He's a high flyer.
I'm excited to go war with all my brothers. We've built a brotherhood, this whole team, and I think that's what it's all about. I think the team that builds that relationship, builds that connection in the locker room will see themselves, come January, come February, come March, be the team that's together, be the team that plays 40 minutes for each other.
My man, Dillon Mitchell. I think the fans love you and the players respect you because you have this, I don't care who's in front of me, bring it on attitude. Where did this mindset come from?
I mean, you got to have that. This conference that we play in is that type of mentality you have to come into or you'll get beat. So it doesn't matter who's in front of you. You got to come out. You got to go hard. You got to play with the right effort. You just got to leave it all on the floor. And I think that's the biggest mentality you have to have when you go out in the Big 12.
You played in the Big 12 last year at Texas. What makes the Big 12 the best conference in college basketball?
I think just the competition. It doesn't matter about rankings. It doesn't matter which team has won the most games, which team has not won the most games. Every team is a real team that can come on your court and take you out. So I think you got to be prepared. You can't never get too high. You can never get too low in this league. You got to be on 10 toes every game, every day in practice, preparing for the next team that you go against.
When you hear people say that you're undersized for a power forward in terms of weight, how does that make you feel?
I mean, it don't bother me at all. I think it's the mentality you got to have. I think if you have the right mentality, it doesn't matter about size, it don't matter about nothing. It matters about this. What's in that chest.
What determines when you jump in the air to dunk what you're going to do? Because you guys, if you look at YouTube and any of the social media that's going on, there's some clips going out there, man, and you're doing some crazy windmills and one-hand tomahawks and two-hand. What's going through your mind?
When I get up there, it's just whatever happens. I'm not even gonna lie. I've never been dribbling to the rim and like, okay, I'm gonna do this. I just jump and then whatever my body does, I'll finish it. I don't even know.
It seems like every time you're on the floor, who has the ball is looking at the rim to see if you're somewhere they can throw the ball up at the rim. What's it like catching these lobs from these willing passers?
I mean, it's fun. I think that's one of the biggest things about our team. Our guards are very unselfish. They know I'm going to be running. When we're on defense, we get the rebound, and they know I'm gone. They know I'm either running to the corner or I'm running to that rim. If you put it anywhere around the rim, I believe.
Michael Sen III is a senior on the Cincinnati Bearcats men's golf team. He played his first 3 years at Belmont. He's this week's guest on the team show Talk Birdie to Me, presented by West Banco.
What's up, Bearcats? Welcome back to another episode of Talk Birdie to Me, sponsored by West Banco Bank. I'm Harrison Sims, your host, and I'm here with my good friend Michael Sen. Michael is a senior from Bentonville, Arkansas. Michael, we're here at hole number 3 at Coldstream Country Club.
This is a great hole out here. My strategy for it is just kind of hit driver up the left side, try to get it over the bunker. If it doesn't, oh well.
Yeah.
But
cool. Now you got a great wedge.
Yeah.
How about you hit us a shot? Man, it's a beauty. Obviously, you're a Division I college golfer. If you were granted the ability to play any other college sport, what sport would you choose and why? You had maximum ability to.
Maximum ability.
You're the best.
The best of the best. Man, I think football would be fun. You have a big spotlight.
Is that what us as golfers?
I know, but
now?
like being like quarterback of like Cincinnati, like that'd be sick.
Yeah, that's true.
So
I personally would choose like the heptathlon.
Okay.
Because that means I would be so good at everything.
Yeah.
You know, like I am a
best at
freak
everything.
of nature athlete. You're from Arkansas, but you have Ohio roots.
Yeah.
But one thing I've learned is you love your chili.
I love Skyline.
Give me your best sales pitch for Skyline Chili. And what you order, how to do it, all those things.
I'll go 4-way with onions. Obviously add the hot sauce and the oyster crackers. Gotta add those. And then like 2 cheese conies.
Okay, that's fair.
But my sell would just be like, it's a perfect dish in the winter. Like fall winter. Like right now.
Yeah.
Like just going to Skyline after practice.
I was about to say we might should propose that today.
I know.
I don't know what Coach Frick's gonna think about that, but we know Coach Martin's gonna be all on board.
Yeah.
You're finishing up your career here at Cincinnati.
Yeah.
What has been your impression so far of all things university, program, everything, and what are you looking forward to doing more of as you finish out your career?
I've been really impressed with just like the culture on the golf team, but specifically just like the athletic department in general. We kind of say like the one team environment, but it's just so true at this campus. Yeah.
Well, we love having you here.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining me. We'll see you next time on Talk Birdie to Me.
A true freshman making a true impact. Tyler Betsey on the Cincinnati Bearcats men's basketball team sits down with sports anchor Caleb Noe coming up.
Bearcats All Access. Sponsored by All Good Home Improvements.
It's not often that a true freshman can be a big piece of a college athletics team in today's day and age. Tyler Betsey on the Cincinnati men's basketball team is finding his way to play as a true freshman. He sat down with sports anchor Caleb Noe.
Tyler, first year at UC, how's it gone for you so far?
I think it's been good overall. I had a lot of ups and downs so far freshman year, but I understand I'm a freshman, so I just take the good with the bad. But overall, it's been good. I met the team, a lot of guys, probably gonna be like brothers for life, so that's good. Just good coaching staff and good city, so it's been good overall for me.
What's been the wildest part of adjusting to college basketball as opposed to high school or prep ball?
I'll say the coaching. There's coaches, GAs, managers, so there's just a lot of eyes in every drill, every rep that you do, they're gonna critique something. So just getting critiqued on everything you do bad is just different from high school where you have your head coach and maybe one assistant. So you might be able to get away with some things, but here you can't do that.
You ain't getting away with nothing.
I'll say that's the biggest adjustment for sure, the coaching.
What's that been like adjusting to that, mentally?
I mean, that's what I wanted when I came here. I wanted to get coached hard, so it was what I expected a little bit, but it caught me off guard at first, but I'm a couple months in now, so it's just regular now.
During your commitment ceremony, you were emotional, man. And it's really something to see, right? Like to observe how meaningful that moment was for you. What was it about that moment for you that was so emotional?
Growing up playing basketball, I started when I was 10, so I would say you could say that's a little late. I had a lot of struggles, like me and my mom, just a lot of nights where my mom wasn't sure if I would be able to make it, but she would do everything in her power to put me in position. And then just being up there, realizing that I'm going to college for free at one of the highest college basketball level there is, it just a lot of emotions came in, and I just wanted to be able to thank everybody that helped me along the way because I couldn't do it alone.
You talk about those nights of uncertainty where you and your mom sat there and you didn't know what was going to happen in the future. What do you remember about those nights?
Even in my junior year, when I was already a recruit, high major, everything, after one of my games, I called my mom and we just started talking about basketball. I started crying to her on the phone. So it was just a lot of emotions in those moments. You're just not sure. Just so many people doing this thing, just so many kids around the world trying to chase that one goal, and you're not sure if you're going hard enough or what you're doing is working. So in that moment of committing to Cincinnati, I realized what I was doing was working. So it was very rewarding.
You talk about getting a free education at an institution like this. How important is that element of this to you? And the reason I ask is because you brought it up.
A lot of people, like in my family, they don't get this opportunity, so I'm kind of like a sign of hope for my family members. So I really don't want to waste what I have. So just being able to come out here and just do as good as possible so people back home could be proud of me, and then my little cousins and people like that who look up to me, they could believe that they could do it too.
Do you want to go to the NBA?
Yeah, for sure.
That's your goal?
For sure.
What's it going to take for you to achieve that goal?
I think just what I'm doing now, just daily work, just take the bumps and bruises. I think as a freshman, I started to understand that everything's not going to go, it's not just going to be a straight, perfect line. So just embracing that adversity, like remembering that I had a lot of adversity to get here in the first place. So to get somewhere else is probably going to be even more, and just accepting that will get me where I need to be.
Good deal, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate you, bro.
All-American in the heptathlon as a freshman. Juliet Laraquente-Hutner is a name to know. Hear more from her coming up. The Cincinnati track and field team eager to return to action for year 2 in the Big 12. The indoor team's second event is in Louisville this weekend. Let's check in with the coaching staff and some of the standout performers on what they hope to improve on going around for year 2.
Goals for this year is that we improve our conference standings. We feel we have a much more competitive team than last year, and so we want to improve how we finish the conference championship.
There was a lot of unknown going into the Big 12 conference. now that we know what's coming at us, I think we'll be ready to handle the challenge and make an even bigger splash in the conference.
We line up to win, get close as possible to breaking records at Cincinnati, fight to the finish.
I mentioned before, I feel like we have really good leadership this year, and not just in a couple areas, but throughout all the event groups. That leadership is really helping us to hold people accountable while making being part of this team also a fun experience.
Just improving on last year and improving on our standings as we're going into this season is just the ultimate goal, and if we can do that, I think we can place pretty high this year.
Just executing like as best as I can to help it get as much points for the team.
Yeah, the one thing that really resonates with me is just progress. Improving our team ranking in the conference championships, qualifying more athletes to the NCAA championships, and just feel like we're trending in the right direction, that we're improving as a program and we're getting stronger every year.
Track and field is a very data-driven sport. We have quite an extensive process to go through data. Improvements can be charted by numbers, either times or distances. We go through that pretty extensively.
I'm always looking at these young men and women, how they started out, prior marks coming in, how they ranked against their peers.
A big focus for us is to continue to develop that leadership and encourage it, not just from our team captains, but really from every athlete on the team.
Seeing the athletes grow in their competitiveness and what they can accomplish this year, I'm really looking forward to that. We have a phenomenal team, and my event group specifically is very strong in the combined events and the multis, and so I'm certainly looking forward to going into those competitions and seeing what they can accomplish. We return our top 2 athletes who qualified for nationals, in Dominique Hall and Juliette Laraquente-Hubner, and it's very much my hope that they'll be improved and better over last year. And the depth.
Who we had come in this year, Kayla Goodwin, and we have Faith Kingsley back now. It's fun at practice, but also knowing like some of the reps, like we are competing, and that just kind of helps like going to competition. Like you've been in that mode before at practice, and yeah, it's not the same with the adrenaline rush and everything that you get at competition, but it still prepares you.
We just had Nikhil Harris, who just came back from the Olympic Games.
Personally, like it's a privilege. Just using that to excel in my races.
Go to battle, just know that they have it, and just actually just compete all the way through. Turn everything else off and just focus on that.
Starts with leadership, continue to have coaches that are challenging themselves to develop and grow every year. Continue to push our core values that we want to operate as a one-team culture versus just small individual event groups.
Track and field All-American Juliette Laraquente-Hubner earned those honors as a freshman. Laraquente-Hubner grew up in a small town of Marengo, Ohio, and is looking for her name to be in the headlines even more this season. It's someone Bearcat fans should be looking out for.
For this year, this season, I'm hoping to get first team All-American in both indoor and outdoor. I'm hoping to either win conference or place top 2. I think with the teams who are coming in and who left, I think that's very doable. And then for the team, I think just improving on last year and improving on our standings. From last season, I learned a lot about having fun while I was doing the event, and that has always been a difficult thing for me, but given what happened last fall and the difficulties I had to overcome and the challenges I had to overcome before indoor conference, I think that I'm definitely going to take that with me this year and just kind of like improve upon that and just make sure I'm having even more fun than last year. With the multi too, you have so many different events that you have to focus on. I mean, indoors is 5 events in one day, and then outdoors it's 4 one day and then 3 the next. So it's like, we like to say Elmo, like enough, let's move on type of thing. Like, okay, what happened, good or bad, and you have to now focus on and have a new headspace for this new event. Learning the shot put and learning how to throw and javelin and all of that, and just kind of balancing all those different events while also trying to like build upon and improve upon the events that I did in high school was very difficult for me. I have this ritual kind of where, especially before conference, I always I have to let out like a cry. Like I have to get that stress off my shoulders. I have to cry it out, and I've been like that since I was a kid in gymnastics and everything. It's kind of funny. My parents and I joke about it often, but I'll talk to Weinberg, tell him my concerns, and there will be tears shed, and then he'll kind of build back up my confidence a little bit and be like, this is what you've been doing at practice. This is what we've seen that you're capable of. You're at your peak right now at conference or nationals or something like that. And just, knowing that he has that confidence in me also helps me because, we're still building on our relationship that we started last year, and just having that coach to athlete relationship definitely helps. And then after that, I'll go into my room and I'll get ready for bed and everything, and I'll stretch. And right before I go to sleep, I do a lot of visualization. So I'll literally go through every single event, step by step, warm up, how I'm going to warm up the next day at the beginning of the day for hurdles, how my hurdle race is going to go, what time I want to run, and then I'll go to high jump and I'll, see the bar at 180 or something like that, like a new PR, and I'll see how I'm supposed to run my curve and all of that stuff, and I'll do that for every single event so that going into the next day, I understand what is expected of me, what cues I need to tell myself or what I need to tell Weinberg to tell me as well, and, also just having that confidence in myself that I visualized it, it can happen, I can manifest it, and that's all that I need to do. Coming in right after my injury and I'm better than where I was the year before, that should say something about how the season's going to go, and just having that confidence and telling myself I can do it and I'm good enough is going to get me further.
That's all the time we have this week on Bearcats All Access. I'm your host, Marshall Kramsky. Coming up in just a couple hours, the Cincinnati Bearcats hosting the Kansas Jayhawks right here at Fifth Third Arena. Make sure to tune in every week to Bearcats All Access, Saturday mornings at 11:30 a.m. on WCPO 9.